And again, welcome to everyone for our information session this evening about the Baltimore County cohort for project program and portfolio management here at Towson. I'm looking off to my side because I wanted to share my screen, which I think I'm doing now, and you're probably seeing my desktop. So let me go ahead and share over the slides. Yes, can you see the overall screen, please, at this point? Yes. Okay, great. All right. So, like I said, this is our information session for our graduate certificate in project program and portfolio management here at Towson University. We are currently, this is October of 2022 when this information session is being held and recorded, and we are currently accepting students for a spring 2023 admission. So what is project program and portfolio management? And sometimes we call it PPPM as a little short. So if you hear me say PPPM tonight, that's what I mean, the actual program title, just a short hand for it. So by definition, project management is the use of specific knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to deliver something of value to people. And a lot of times when we talk about project management, we talk about something that is new and novel and have never been done before by an organization. And that's really important because sometimes when we go through organizational change, or we have a new initiative or some sort of new product development, sometimes that all needs to go through a launch phase. And when we talk about these launch phases, it's something that the company hasn't had previous experience with. It's something brand new. And it might not be brand new to the industry, but it's brand new to the company, or in your case, brand new to the county. And in those cases, we usually need to get a lot of stakeholders involved across multiple aspects of the organization, bring everybody together and get something done, something that we're not used to doing. So project managers tend to lead those independent teams or lead those implementation teams or those initiatives and help to deliver that value or deliver that new thing to the organization. Program management is typically multiple projects together, typically in the same theme. So we're looking at application of knowledge, skills, and tools, but now we're looking at program requirements. So we see a lot of this in DoD, DHS, TSA, things like that, large government programs where the government employees tend to lead an overall set of projects organized around a theme, or in the terms of government employees leading teams of contractors, having some sort of initiative where sometimes that's a leadership role in terms of managers, where there's a government contractor relationship, or sometimes it's just lots of projects rolling out together. And then portfolio management would be looking at an organization to lever its project and execution success. So maybe we're looking at initiatives at that point across the state of Maryland. How does Baltimore County, for example, fit into a new state of Maryland initiative? Example of program management, I'm not sure we have a lot of teachers on the call, but if it was something in terms of Baltimore County Public Schools, it might be an initiative that's rolling out across every single high school, for example, in the county. Each high school would be a project. The overall collection of those initiatives rolling out across the county would be the program. And if it was a statewide initiative and it was rolling out at multiple counties in Maryland, the portfolio would become multiple counties. So why would you want to do a graduate certificate in this? And to be clear, this is not quite a master's degree. It can be extended into a master's degree at Towson, but right now this is a certificate. This is what we call a post-baccalaureate certificate, meaning you have an undergraduate degree, or maybe you even have a graduate degree somewhere else, but you have completed undergraduate education and you're looking for additional courses that are at the graduate level, but it's not necessarily a full master's degree at this point. So talking about customer relationships, if you're working with contractors, talking about organizing teams, whether it's something new, novel, never been done before, or it's just the team you have in your organization and you want more leadership skills. All of these are relevant skills that could be taught or learned within the context of the certificate. Project charters. If I'm coming up with something new, novel, never been done before, what do I need to do? Excuse me, what is the scope of work? what resources are needed, helping to identify that and bringing the right stakeholders on board. And then actually knowing the skills, the tools, and techniques for initiating and executing projects and portfolios. One of the really cool things about project management is that you don't necessarily have to be an expert in that area. If it's an engineering project, you don't necessarily have to be an engineer to be the manager of the project. You just need to be able to bring the stakeholders together and manage the overall work that needs to be done and understand what that scope is. So project management gives me a lot of skill sets to apply to multiple different organizations and industries and areas when I get to have a chance to work in that field. And I develop and execute organizational strategies. So if you're looking to move into a leadership role in the county or in your office, this brings you extra additional skills in terms of managing organizations, organizational change, and strategic management in the organization as well. And obviously, if you're going to go through a certificate, you want to be able to increase your earning potential. You want that competitive advantage. So having a graduate certificate hopefully will be able to help you become eligible for promotion. Then, of course, like I mentioned, that certificate can be extended into a master's program at Towson as well. So some of the benefits of our program, they are flexible course offerings. And for this special cohort with Baltimore County, all of our classes will be held online. So you don't necessarily need to come into the university. You don't necessarily need to rush somewhere after work to make your class time. Our classes are going to be online, so you can fit them into your schedule and you can work on, and you can meet your milestones weekly and work through the content that is necessary to complete the course. You'll be studying with your cohorts, so you'll be able to network with other employees in Baltimore County, and you'll also be able to study with them and learn with them and also increase your knowledge as a group. There will be training and access with our leading edge industry software. Towson University provides software licenses, student licenses, and multiple project management software to all of our students. And if you join this cohort, you will become a student at Towson University. So you'll be able to access that training and that software as well. And your professors will help you learn and master that in the context of the course material. And a lot of project managers over the course of their career work to become project management professionals, or the PMP certification. That is outside Towson. That is an industry standard and industry certification. But this program helps you get the skills and the foundationals and the prerequisites in order to take that exam. So we've seen a lot of government employees, whether at the federal or the state level or the county level, come through our program and then apply to become PMPs. And that PMP certification does help them move to the next position in their organization, and sometimes also leads to a promotion or a salary adjustment. So we don't necessarily, like I said, we don't administer the exam here at Towson, but we do prepare you to take that exam. So here are some common job titles in the field. This is not exclusive. These are not the only project manager job titles in the area. But it just wants to show that there are other types of jobs than the typical project manager term or program administrator term. We see other types of job fields, and lots in terms of cost and budgeting as well in this organization and in this area. So some of the advantages of being a part of this cohort, like I mentioned earlier, completely online classes, which is great. Fit them in with your schedules, with your work, and don't necessarily have to rush to campus, to make it on time. Nobody wants to sit in that 695 traffic at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So this will really much help you be able to hopefully balance this career opportunity with you and your current work and your home lives as well. And these online classes are listed in our catalog as something called asynchronous, which means they are sort of self-paced. You have a lot of milestones that are set, and typically you have a milestone to meet every single week, or an assignment to turn in every single week or every other week. But you don't have to necessarily log into a live Zoom. So tonight you had to be here at 5 o'clock to log into this information session and watch it live. You will be able to watch, typically there's videos of your professor giving a lecture or walking you through an assignment or walking you through a technique. You watch those videos. you complete the work, you collaborate with your coworkers and your cohort. So you can fit this work into your schedule. Now, your professor is available for office hours or questions and emails and things like that. But really, your focus here is going to be managing it within your own time. And another huge benefit for being a part of the Baltimore County cohort is a 50% reduced tuition. So your course rate comes down to $900 per course. You need to pay that ahead of time, but you are reimbursed from the county. And when we get to the end of the session here, Karen can give you some more information about how that's going to work in terms of process. And we're going to be starting in January of 2023. Our classes, I believe, began the last week of January. I think that's the 30th, if I remember correctly, but it's definitely towards the end of January. So past the holiday time, past all of that, and it'll get you started through January. And our semester runs through the end of January through about mid-May. So there's 5 courses in the certificate program. There are 10 courses in a Towson University master's degree, but in this, in the master's degree in supply chain. But these 5 courses work into the certificate. 3 to 4 of these courses, depending on how you schedule them, can be applied to the master's degree in project management. So really what you can do is, if you want to do the certificate on the reduced tuition program, you can do that. And if you want to continue at Towson University, you can apply these courses to a master's degree in supply chain management. Currently, our master's degree in supply chain management is not offered as part of the cohort with the reduced tuition, but there is an in-state tuition benefit. And if students are interested in that, towards the end of the certificate, we can definitely give you more information, answer any questions today even, but we could talk about those next steps at the time. But this certificate in project management is 5 courses. And this spring, we're going to start with Introduction to Project Management. You know, why are we here? What is the whole point of this? And how it gets you started and spun up in this area. And then we're going to move into additional courses, one in leadership and communication to sharpen those skills, help you lead teams. One in procurement and sourcing. If you are a project manager, a lot of times you have to bring together people from multiple parts of the organization, multiple stakeholders, external contractors. You need to bring resources into the project in order to execute it. So procurement and sourcing looks at actual physical inventory as well as contract management and bringing new resources into a team. Then we're going to look at process management. Process management helps us to understand where things can be going wrong. How can we make things more efficient? I'm sure everybody has some sort of process they do at work that takes forever. Either it's a paperwork thing, or you send it off to someone and you wait forever, or they're backlogged. Process management takes a look at where those potential bottlenecks are, where those potential resource needs are, and helps you manage and learn how to make processes more efficient and spread your resources and apply your resources more efficiently. And then our final course in fall of 2024 is Program and Portfolio Management, which takes a look at all of these skills at that larger level, that program level, multiple projects, that portfolio level, multiple programs. So this spreads across a little bit more than just about 1 calendar year, but this allows us to take a look at all of the courses in the program. And our mission requirements require a bachelor's degree or a bachelor's of science or bachelor's of arts degree from an accredited university. Typically, we require a GPA in your undergraduate education, or if you have existing graduate education of 3.0 or better. Students who have a 2.75 GPA from their undergraduate or graduate studies can be considered for conditional admission. Conditional admission means you have to earn a grade of B or better in our first 3 of the 5 courses, the first 3 courses of the program, in order to remain in the program. And let's say your GPA is, not quite 3.0 and you don't want a conditional admission, let's say it's 2.8. We look at your total GPA over your entire transcript, but we also look at your GPA over your last 60 units, which typically is your junior and senior year. And the reason we do that is sometimes students change majors in undergrad. So they start out in a major that they're not quite that great at or they don't like, and then they transition to a major that they get better grades in. Sometimes students mature over time, all kinds of different reasons, but we're going to take the higher of those two GPAs. So maybe you started out in a field that wasn't the best fit for you. Your grades weren't so great freshman and sophomore year. You transitioned to a different major, junior and senior year, did really, really well. That junior and senior GPA is above 3, we would consider you for non-conditional admission in that case, because we would be looking for the higher of the two GPAs. We need to see your current resume, and we need to see a 1 to 2 page personal statement. It does not have to be super detailed, but it should just talk about your relevant experience, your career goals, and basically why you want to be here. Why will this program help you, and how will it help you achieve your goals? And then just one letter of recommendation. And that letter of recommendation can come from a supervisor, a current or previous supervisor at your work, or someone who can speak to your overall skill set and your overall abilities. We also consider potential exceptions to GPAs. So if you've graduated from more than 5 years ago and you do have some related work experience, and maybe you fall in that 2.75 range, or maybe you even fall slightly before low 2.75. Again, we're going to look at that last 60 GPA. That might be higher than 2.75. But if you've had 5 years or more of relevant work experience in project management, this is a decision made at graduate admissions at the university level, but they will review your application and potentially consider you for the cohort as well if you can show the addition of work experience on top of your overall academic career. The statistics, I'm smiling because sometimes people get a little nervous here, but statistics is a prerequisite course for the program. Now, if you recently graduated from undergrad, or you recently enrolled in a master's program or other graduate program, and you've taken a statistics course in the last 5 years and you've earned an A or B, you could be waived. But a lot of us probably have, it's been quite some time since we've been in undergraduate, and that's okay. Most of our students complete an online course through Khan Academy in order to earn their statistics prerequisite. And that is not a terrible course. You can take, it's completely self-paced, and you can take it as many times as you need to. So if you're in a module and you're stuck and you're struggling a little bit, you can spend some time with it. It's not graded. It's just a pass-fail type of course. And once you are complete with it, then you are released into our program, fully released into our program with having the statistics completed. Some students don't necessarily want to do an online class. They're allowed to take a statistics course on campus. That cost for that course, whether you take it on campus or a community college, is not part of your cohort. It is an additional fee, and it will be billed at traditional rates. So that's why a lot of students go with the free course, because they can fit it into their schedules and they don't have to pay. But you can take a statistics course right here at Towson University, or you could take one at a United States community college. And if you choose that, I would need, or the program would need, to approve your syllabus to make sure you're choosing the right statistics course and you're getting the right prerequisite information. All right, so Karen's here. Let's learn a little bit more about Towson Learning Network.
Okay, so as I said earlier, Towson Learning Network handles all the logistics for off-campus programs. This would be an off-campus program. Just to give you a little history for that cost, we have an MOU, or a contract, with Baltimore County government, and that's what allows us to do the $900 tuition. And we know that different folks in different departments and at different levels have different reimbursements. And that was all factored in when we were working with Jennifer Lynch and Danielle Wiley to figure out how we could make this work and come up with an MOU. So who are we? What is TLN? Well, we're part of the Division of Academic Affairs. We report directly to the provost and the associate provost. And again, we're responsible for contractual and off-campus programs. Our programs are called closed contract, which means that people do not move in and out. You know, when you're registered for a college course, sometimes you had the same people with you, sometimes you didn't. It's not that way. This is a cohort. You move through with the exception of the prerequisite. Once it starts, you move through together as a group, taking the same courses at the same time. We collaborate with the school systems and government agencies and also some other types of agencies. But we are all about cost, content, and convenience. As we've said, our cost is reduced about 50%. So, you know, $1,800 versus $900, that is significant. And you're not going to get this kind of quality program at that price in many places. And I already talked about the agreement with the Baltimore County government where you have to self-pay. You would self-pay and seek reimbursement, and that'll address that as well. Once you are registered for a course, that's when the bill comes out. Then when you get your grade, of course, you know your process for reimbursement. I wouldn't know that, but you know your process for reimbursement. But you was correct in saying that you would have to pay up front. Now, if you're a good money manager, you can pay up front and start saving those reimbursements towards the next course, and then not have to keep putting money out. But essentially, depending on your reimbursement, it becomes a very low cost way to get this post-baccalaureate certificate. Content. Accreditation standards require that any program offered through TLN has the same academic rigor as found in on-campus programs. It's not like, you know, taking a professional development or something like that. This is a college course with the same rigor as everyone else. The programs are aligned, however, with agency priorities and initiatives. This was a program, again, that when we talked with folks in Baltimore County, that they thought there would be people within the organization that would benefit from this program. And convenience. We have a variety of program formats. However, as Natalie said, this will be a fully online program. And I believe it's asynchronous, Natalie, is that what
That is correct, yes.
So it is asynchronous, which means that you, again, do it at your convenience. I mean, that's a great way. I know I was a former principal and going to school for my master's and for certifications after I had kids and I was working. And they didn't do fully online back then. The most technology they had in the classroom was an overhead projector. So that tells you how long ago that was. So typically when we're in schools, they're in approved schools, but you don't have to worry about a location because you're asynchronous online. Sally Simonetta, who is usually with us for these meetings, her grandmother is in Florida, and she and her dad are going down there today to help her out after the storm. So she could not be with us. But Sally Simonetta, S. Simonetta at Towson.edu, she is the TLN academic program specialist assigned to this program. She works in our office and she will help you with the whole process, including the application link, the registration link. So if you reach out to Sally, you reach out to Natalie, Sally will get that information. She will send you the application. And sometimes people get really excited and they go online and they find a program online and they start the registration process. If that happens, you will end up paying $45 to register. And there is nothing, no matter how hard we try, there is nothing TLN can do to get that back for you. If you go through Sally, and we have a special TLN application site that Sally will send the link out to, and you will actually also have the opportunity to save another $45 with a free opportunity to apply. So, I mean, we're trying every which way we can to really make it work for you. We value you and what you do and your schedule, and we want to make it work. Once you're accepted into a program, registration information follows that acceptance. And again, Sally is there to facilitate the registration process. She'll get you started. She'll tell you where you need to go, how to do it. Everything you need logistically is handled through TLN. Everything you need that's part of the program is handled through Natalie. So that's how you decide, okay, who handles what? That's how it works. And our programs do fill quickly because they are a great deal. So, as soon as your information goes in or your email goes in, we start to work on it. So it's to your advantage to think about it. And if you decide this is what you want, then go for it. Don't delay. And as a sometimes procrastinator, I will say, don't be that procrastinator.
So here's a set of contact information, and I know we let a few people in and joined the call a couple minutes after we got started. So once again, I am Dr. Natalie Scala. I am the program director for supply chain and project management at Towson University. I am a faculty member, so I teach courses at Towson. I also help to lead the curriculum and the advising and the academic issues that we see with our graduate students. So the best way to reach me is supplychain@towson.edu. And again, this program falls in our overall supply chain umbrella, but this is a graduate certificate. You can also visit our website at towson.edu/PPPM, Project Program Portfolio Management. Now that is going to give you cost information and scheduling information for the traditional program, but all of the content and course and everything like that still applies. The advantage of being in the Baltimore County cohort is learning with your peers and the reduced tuition rates. University admissions is where you're going to go if you have any questions about your transcript. Now, like we said, you do not apply to the graduate admissions website. If you go to the traditional Towson graduate admissions, if you Google that, the traditional application, that's where you have the $45 fee. So you definitely want to contact Sally for your application, but grads can help you with any questions you have about your transcript or potential undergraduate degrees, and if you have the requisites needed to start the program.
And when Sally sends out the application link, she does send out directions for all of that, and
Excellent.
how to send your transcripts by mail, how to request to send them via email. So that there's a lot of information that, just through experience, we know that people need, and we do provide that as we go through the process.
So at this point, we'll take some questions, and there's been 2 in the chat already. For those of you who joined late, if you could please add your full name, first and last, and your email address to the chat, we will make sure we get this information to you afterwards. So one thing we're doing right now is recording this session. We will send you a link to the session if you want to watch it again, or if you want to share it with a colleague or someone else you feel like might be interested in this program and this opportunity. So we will send that to you. And we will also connect you with any other types of resources you might have, or I'm sorry, resource questions you might have. There's already a couple other questions in here on the chat. Somebody asked about if I've recently graduated with a master's degree, can this be submitted to meet the GPA requirement? And the answer to that is yes. You may submit undergraduate or graduate transcripts, and we would look at your total GPA as well as that last 60 credits that you've taken. And even if you don't have a graduate degree completed, let's say you started one and you didn't finish it for whatever reason, you can still submit that in progress transcript because that will help to your last 60. So please submit all the transcripts you have. Give us as much information as you can so we can get you connected to the right resources. There's another question here. There are no classes in fall. Oh, okay. Looking at the schedule, there are no classes in fall 2023. You know, John, that might actually be a slight typo in the slide. So let me go back to that. That's a really good question. So yes, I'm sorry about this. This should read spring 2023. It should read fall 2023, not summer. I'm sorry. Spring of 24, summer of 24, fall of 24. So you would have the summer of 23 off, and then we would take that summer course in fall. We do have a summer 2024 option to wrap up with just within that smaller calendar window. But thank you, John. And I really apologize for that typo here. But that's what we are looking at. Yes. Someone on a Samsung device raised their hand. I see a hand has gone up. And all my attendees are on mute, so you'll have to take yourself off of mute for that.
I think the Samsung person left the group.
Oh, okay. All right. Someone else asked a question in the chat. I understand this is an online self-paced course. Can you give the approximate time commitment needed to do the weekly work? Well, that's a really good question too. You know, it's hard to tell time commitment per week because some weeks you might just have a homework assignment. Some weeks you might not have an assignment because a project's due the next week and you have 2 weeks to complete it. But typically at Towson University, 3 credit courses, which is this is what this is a 3 credit or 3 unit course. Typically, we say those courses should be 100 to 120 hours total of work. Now, that is up to the students. Some students work really fast and they get their work done in less than 100 hours. But budgeting yourself 100 to 120 hours would be, I think, reasonable. It might be a little bit less. We certainly do not, you know, try and load the class that it would be more than that amount of time. Semesters at Towson during fall, spring run 15 or 16 weeks, depending on how the exam is done. Sometimes there are 15 weeks of learning, and then the 16th week is the final exam. So if you want to average that out, you can average that out to less than 10 hours per week on average. But when the class begins, the professor will set those expectations of what weeks have different assignments due and things like that. But that is a rough guideline. You know, like I said, different students learn at different paces too. The summer schedule is a little bit quicker. That is a 10-week session. So that one moves a little bit faster. So you do have a higher expectation of work in the summer. And that's why we only offer typically 1 summer in the program and the other summer off, because we recognize that does move faster.
Can I ask a little bit more along those same lines?
Sure.
So approximate, that is like 10 hours per week with amount of work that will be needed with homework and listening to lectures.
I would say that's 10 hours in a summer session, right? So if we divide 100, let's say 100 by 16, and I have a PhD in engineering, but I'm terrible at simple math. So let me divide 100 by 16. That's more about 6.5 hours per week.
Gotcha. And I understand this is a cohort format. So we start together, but suppose we took one course and we felt like, okay, no, this is not something that's working out. Right. Do we drop off? And is that a normal way of dropping? And what happens to the tuition?
Karen, can you speak to that? I don't know those details.
Yeah, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I said, so if they started the class and I felt like, okay, I'm not able to, you know, suffice the time commitment and that I need to drop out of the program, then is it like a W? Do we get the tuition that we paid for back? how does that process work?
If you are dropped, then
Like, does the,
Well, yeah, so I mean, you would receive a W grade if you drop with, so university policy is if you drop a class within the semester after our add drop time. So the first 2 weeks of the class are kind of like a free space. So if you drop after the third week of class, you receive a W on your transcript and you do not receive a tuition, there's no refund. You just
Right.
take the class. Now, if you take the class and finish, but you choose to leave the cohort, Karen, I don't know if there's repercussions to come,
there are
or how you
repercussions.
come back, yeah.
If you finish that course, you know, you will get the grade for that course. You'll have that course on record that you have successfully completed it, and we have a process just to withdraw you from the cohort.
okay, so the tuition is not changed just because you dropped from one course?
Not,
Well, if you leave
well,
the
you would have to
cohort,
pay for that one course that you're dropping. You would not pay for the rest. You
Right.
are not committed to paying for the 5 courses. If you end up stopping after course 1, then you're not registering for the other 4 and you would not be paying for the other 4. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and then, you know, the other scenario is that where you start the class and in 1 week you figure out this is not something that I can do.
and if you
There
drop
is-
or add drop, there's no tuition charge. And
Okay, so we do get money back.
Yeah.
the university sets a deadline every semester that you are allowed to drop without penalty. After that date, there is no tuition refund.
I
Gotcha.
don't think the bills even go out until after the add drop date. But I can't say that with 100% accuracy, but
Yeah.
I don't think
They go out, but they're not due. Yeah.
right.
Gotcha, okay.
And also, let's say you take 3 of the courses in the or all 4. Let's say you take all 4 and you miss the final semester. And then you want to come back later, you know, because Towson has a residency time period. So you have, I think, 7 years, 5 or 7 years to complete the program. So let's say you take 4 of them and the 5th course you have to take outside the cohort. Karen, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the 5th course is billed at regular Towson rate if you're not in the cohort.
If you go outside of the cohort, you do have to pay the regular Towson rate, and you do have to go through the regular, you know, process to reapply. Now, I will say, and we do not do this unless there's a compelling reason. There's been an illness, or there's been, for whatever reason, somebody couldn't finish a course. If there's another TLN cohort of the same program running,
Another group.
we would try to slide them into that cohort when it offers the program at the TLN rate. But
Gotcha,
it really just depends on the circumstances and whether there's an additional cohort running.
all right. I'm currently working for Baltimore County on a brand new project. Position was brand new as I was hired. And there was just so much work in it. So I'm just debating the time commitment. And also, like, I did my undergraduate like 10 years ago. I was an engineering major, and then I changed to management of aging services. So the funny thing is, management of aging services wanted statistics. However, because I was coming from engineering background and had so much of calculus under my belt, I had up to level 3 calculus. So they waived that, and I didn't have to do statistics. And now you just mentioned that the statistics is needed. So I was wondering if having that calculus kind of helps you not take statistics, or you still do need to?
So unfortunately, we, you know, like, well, I don't know if unfortunately is the right word, but as Karen mentioned, we have to go by the university requirements if you were a traditional regular student. And the policy for our graduate programs and supply chain and this whole umbrella in business is statistics. Now you can
Mm,
waive from statistics if you've taken it in the last 5 years with a grade of A or B. But unfortunately, other than that, there isn't really a waiver. And that's why a lot of our students join the online course.
Khan
And the
Academy,
nice thing
okay.
about the online course is, we don't start this cohort until the end of January. So let's say you apply and you get admitted in November. Well, you can start statistics in December, January and get a head start and have less, less time to do during the semester. Also, I think that Khan Academy course is a really great way to reintroduce yourself to learning, right?
Right.
You're back to school, you haven't been in school for a while. This is pass fail, it's low stakes, but it just helps to kind of wrap your mind around that again, the idea of learning and dealing with the class. And that's a nice prep work to help you kind of get spun up and ready for the spring course.
You know how many modules there are in that?
I don't remember offhand,
Sure.
but yeah, it is paced. We have quite a few other questions in the chat as
Thank you.
well as hands up. So let me take those and then we can come back if there's more details in this area. There is a hand up on a Samsung device.
And I think that's the one that left the group.
Yeah, but came back. I
Oh, it
see a
came
hand on
back?
my end again. Yeah. And that person is on mute, unfortunately, so I cannot
Okay.
see their mouth talking, but I know. Oh no, I still don't hear anything. If we could utilize the chat, that would be helpful. And then I can't quite hear the question. All right, well, we work on that. I'm going to go to another question here too. I graduated 25 years ago, bachelor's degree in electrical engineering with a 2.2. I'm not going to read the GPA out loud, but I have 20 years experience and I have the PMP. I would absolutely apply. That years of experience can help you. Graduate admissions will take a look at that and see that experience. They will also see the PMP, which is helpful. And that should allow you to be considered for admission at that point. I can't say if people are going to be accepted or not on a call. I have to look at the entire admissions packet. But based on the experience I see here in the chat, I would say that you are eligible for review of your application. Absolutely. Is the $900 per course or for the full cohort program? This is a per course fee. Now, if in a perfect world, you pay the $900, you take the first class, you earn your reimbursement and you apply that reimbursement to your second class. You earn the reimbursement, you apply it to the third, and you keep doing that. And when you finish the fifth course, you get that initial $900 back. So our goal here in this program is to keep it rolling. And hopefully you pay $900 up front, you earn it back at the very end, but you don't necessarily need to pay a lot of extra money in between. Now, you might have a book fee or a small, court and buy your book and things like that, but we very much try and keep not a lot of additional outlay throughout the program. And Karen, I don't know if you want to speak to that some more.
Well, I guess I have a question for you, Natalie. I know in the education department,
Sure.
they have a watermark fee, a one-time fee of $120. Is there anything like that, a computer tech fee or anything like that? Because that would not be covered by the tuition and would be a participant paid.
So there are no program-based fees. I mean, there are, you have to buy your book or rent your book during the semester, but there's no program-based fees. Now, that being said, Towson does charge graduate students like athletics fees and
No, not through TLN.
but not for, okay. So yes, there is no program fee per se. But there are book fees and sometimes a software fee, but they are
Right.
typically nominal and less than $100 per semester if your professor even chooses to use a book, and some do not.
Right. Because remember, you're not paying to park
Right?
or the pay to search program, as I call it. But you're not paying to park. and you don't pay athletic fees and all of those other fees, because you can come on campus, you can use the library, you're entitled to the services that other students have, but you don't have those fees because technically it's an off-campus program,
Yes.
graduate program.
And as Lauren mentioned here too, if you can't quite if you're having a hard time getting the chat, if you're on a mobile device, sometimes the chat's not great. If the mute's not working for you, this email right here, supplychain@Towson, please send us a note. We will answer your questions as well. But I will open it up for hands that are raised again. Let's try one more time. You can scan this QR code and jump to our website, but also feel free to follow us on social media. We have more information about our programs. We have events on campus. We have all kinds of information about project management and supply chain management. So you can search for us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn by looking for Towson U Supply Chain. You can follow us on YouTube at Towson Analytics as well. We have some videos and some channel information there. This cohort session will go to our YouTube channel, and we will also email you that YouTube link for you to watch again if you need to, or like I said, share with a colleague. Do we have other questions at this point? Oh, Karen's speaking, but she's on mute. Oh.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that you can go to the Towson website and just put Towson Learning Network in the search bar. And then there's information about how we work and this program. We just launched our new website like 3 days ago. So.
And the chat is, there's a question about the chat on YouTube. The chat is not live, but you know, the talking through of the questions will be on YouTube, I believe, but you will not hear your names on YouTube. Also, wait for the email link to apply. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. You need to reach out either to supply chain or Sally, right? So let me put Sally's email back up here. Because Sally is the best one to get you that link to apply. But if you can't remember or you forget or anything like that, I'm not sharing, am I? Nope. If you can't remember or you forget or you don't have a pencil and paper right now, feel free to go ahead and email supplychain@towson.edu as well, and we can connect you with Sally. So Sally's email is down here at the bottom of this screen. But like I said, if you spell it wrong or you forget, we will connect you in supply chain to Sally.
And you can also find her on our website with her email address.
Other questions? Let's see what else is in the chat here. Anything else? Well, if you think of anything else, tonight, tomorrow, next week, next month, whenever, please send us a note. We're happy to be here to help you out. One more thing I wanted to mention, and I'm not sure I was clear about this earlier. If you want to start with us in January of 2023, the deadline to apply for January admission is January 7th of 2023. So please make those university deadlines of January 7th or earlier. We are happy to take your application earlier. And like Karen mentioned, we only have so many slots for this program. So if you are interested, it is in your best interest to apply early. Please apply by January 7th. And we are very much looking forward to having you this spring. So I really appreciate your time this evening, and let us know if you have any more questions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Very exciting to have all of these people here tonight. I know that Natalie's very excited and I'm very excited. So
I was wondering, how many seats do you have for this cohort? Like, how big is the cohort
Karen,
size?
do you know the seat size offhand?
That's really a department decision.
Yeah, typically we cap our courses around 20 or 25, but
Okay.
that is in flux at times too.
Thank you.
From the TLM perspective, we're more about, you have to have a minimum to make a cohort work, but a
Mhm.
maximum, that's on the department.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share and stop the recording.